Today marks National Sorry Day, a solemn reminder of the pain and resilience of stolen generation survivors. From ongoing removals of Indigenous children to land clearing on Larrakia country and growing calls for redress, the voices of elders, youth leaders and communities are unified in demanding change. Kaya, this is the National Indigenous Times Daily News Bulletin for Monday the 26th of May. Gamilarine Willawon elder Auntie Lorraine Peters was just 4 years old when she and her siblings were forcibly removed from their family and sent to institutions where they faced mistreatment, part of the government policies that created the stolen generations. Auntie Lorraine reflected on the loss of her culture and identity, saying National Sorry Day on May 26 remains a vital time for healing and remembrance. This year's Sorry Day theme, We Cannot Wait Another Generation, highlights growing urgency as many survivors age without seeing justice. The Healing Foundation says few recommendations from the 1997 Bringing Them Home report have been fully implemented. At a Sorry Day event in Sydney on Gadigal land hosted by the Kuta Girls Aboriginal Corporation, survivors and families gathered to reflect and heal. Auntie Lorraine's granddaughter, Megan Gerard, said such events are essential to ensure these stories are not forgotten and that healing continues. 8 years on from the Uluru Statement from the Heart, young Indigenous leaders Bridget Kammer and Alira Davies continue to lead Uluru Youth Dialogue, pushing for structural reform and First Nations political participation. The two began working in 2019 to ensure youth voices were heard, running workshops and grassroots initiatives, including community outreach at NRL All-Stars events. They've nurtured a strong network of passionate young leaders advocating for change. Despite the Voice referendum defeat, they remain committed, noting widespread community support and the need for continued efforts in truth-telling and justice. Both stress the importance of community involvement, listening to elders, and backing bold leadership to address ongoing disparities. On National Sorry Day, Senator Lydia Thorpe called out the Albanese government for failing to implement the Bringing Them Home report recommendations 28 years after its release. The Gunai Gunditjmara and Gerald Burrung senator labelled the ongoing removal of Indigenous children as a genocidal project and criticised symbolic gestures like morning teas, saying they offer crocodile tears while removal continues under government policy. Senator Thorpe highlighted that only 6% of the original recommendations have been fully implemented despite calls from stolen generation survivors and advocates, including the Healing Foundation's recent report, Are You Waiting for Us to Die? She urged Labor to stop deflecting responsibility and instead enact national standards, fund culturally safe community-led programs, and hold states and territories accountable. With a progressive Senate and widespread support, Senator Thorpe said this new parliament must mark the end of excuses. WA Police have confirmed they will continue allowing comments on their Facebook posts despite increasing concern over racist and defamatory responses, particularly targeting Indigenous people. Recent posts on the Midwest Gascoyne district page have attracted comments that identify individuals not yet named by police, including one post where a user named an Indigenous woman and her street address. Others have included racial slurs and derogatory remarks, raising questions about the safety and fairness of such public engagement. When questioned by National Indigenous Times, WA Police said they use auto-filters and manual screening to remove inappropriate comments, but stopping all harmful remarks is not feasible. A spokesperson said switching off comments reduces post reach and engagement, and that social media remains an important tool for public communication. While users are discouraged from providing crime-related information via social media, WA Police maintain that keeping comments on will remain standard practice. Defence Housing Australia has been fined $18,780 for unlawfully clearing land on Larrakia country. The Federal Environment Department issued the infringement after Defence Housing Australia cleared beyond its approved development stages without a revised construction environmental management plan. The controversial project, set to clear 132 hectares for military housing, has faced strong opposition from Larrakia traditional owners and environmentalists. Despite Defence Housing Australia being aware it lacked planning approvals, the NT's Development Consent Authority declined to act. The development threatens significant cultural sites, including the Kenby Dreaming Track and endangered species like the golden finch. Calls to return land to the Larrakia people continue to grow, backed by a petition tabled in Parliament by Senator Lydia Thorpe. Minister for Indigenous Australians Malarndirri McCarthy has vowed to keep pressuring the state governments, particularly in Western Australia and Queensland, to establish redress schemes for stolen generation survivors, as frustration over inaction mounts. Speaking on National Sorry Day, Minister McCarthy labelled the issue a serious matter still impacting families today, highlighting the ongoing removal of Indigenous children at rates nearly 10 times higher than non-Indigenous children. While the Commonwealth has extended redress in the NT, Minister McCarthy stressed that state governments must meet their responsibilities. Her comments follow sharp criticism from Senator Lydia Thorpe, who accused the government of failing to implement the Bringing Them Home report's recommendations and continuing harmful policies. That's today's Daily News Roundup from the National Indigenous Times. For more news, head to nit.com.au and sign up to our free newsletter today.